They say size doesn't matter, it's what you do with it that counts, something I try to convince myself frequently. But for the Bricklink Designer Programme Series 5, it might just be true. Here's my pick of the top 10 designs under 1500 pieces. My first pick is this, the old Rivalry, 1091 pieces, and I think a pretty gorgeous little medieval diorama of a couple of knights whiling away their time catching some fish. And yes, it is the Black Falcons and Lion Knights faction, still rivals, still competing for the fish, but perhaps in their older years, developing a bit of a friendship while they're doing it. Whilst I am a fan of castles, and pick up most everything to do with the medieval line, including our most recent town square, something a little bit more tranquil that would fit in with that world, is to my mind exactly what's called for. I think that this beautiful little diorama would be a fun, calming little scene to go in on display amongst the other sets that make up that world. My next choice is this, the Expedition Blimp, or indeed Expedition Airship or Dirigible. I admit I had to look up to remind myself the difference between a Zeppelin and a blimp, Zeppelins being rigid and blimps not. This is 712 pieces, and I'm loving the choice of colour. This really gives me classic adventure vibes. And I do think that an airship would be such a cool choice. It's something that LEGO always seems to shy away from, unless it's something like Ninjago. I really enjoyed the steampunk airship submissions that we've seen over the last year or two on LEGO Ideas and of course the Bricklink Designer Programme, but they never seem to get chosen. This is just that little bit different, quirky, obviously small, but every piece is so well chosen. I think it oozes character and charm and really does have that classic adventure peel. I like the fact that they've even got their luggage packed on top with a skull in there as well for good measure. The minifigures look really cool as well, especially the very classically English top hat and cup of tea. I most certainly approve. Of course, the reason that I've done this video for all of the sets under 1500 pieces is that they shouldn't be too expensive. Of the 5 finalists, the average size will be 2,500 pieces. The biggest with a max of 4,000, the smallest a minimum of 400. And it's easy to get caught up in those big designs. But you know what? Little ones like this, for a relatively low cost price, I think is absolutely cracking. My next choice is the Bounce Castle at the Park. Now, as a medieval fan, it's not exactly the sort of castle I had in mind when I started searching through Series 5's designs, but what a quirky, cool, out-of-the-box little idea. I just think this is super humorous. Most of us have been on a bouncy castle at some point in our lives, generally as a child or occasionally as a drunken birthday gate crash. Not that I'm talking from personal experience, of course. Overall, I just think this is super fun. Again, 752 pieces, really small. It even has this gear which you can turn, which will make the minifigures on the inside effectively bounce up and down. I would really quite like this, and yes, I wouldn't be able to resist putting it on display next to the actual Lion Knight's castle. I'd just like to go the whole hog, and instead of the 2 kid minifigures, actually just give us a couple of knights. You know, embrace it, that would be brilliant, and it would make me smile every time that I looked at it. Then for number 4 is the wooden train, one that I have covered in my video on trains and their related buildings for the Bricklink Series 5. But how could I resist mentioning it here? 1,027 pieces. It's nostalgic for me from the wooden trains that it is based on. So colourful, even the track that's been done in the different colours. Yes, there are proper trains that I do want to see more, as I covered in that video, which I'll link to in the description below if you haven't seen it. But there's something about this which really brings my inner child pleasure. I love it when fan designers bring us slightly out of the box ideas like this, and I kind of think it deserves to be made. After all, LEGO started with doing wooden toys. Having a modern homage to this, I think's really nice. So another one that's very much deserving of a vote in my opinion. Okay, number 5, the mystical Woodland Treehouse. Just the burst of colour and originality in this really captured my attention. Not to mention it's something that's actually been built by the designer in real life. As impressive as the digital mock-ups and all of these are, I really like it when they actually do build them, and you can see that it does look really great. A couple of elves in their magical treehouse, beautiful choice of leaves all around. In fact, the colours throughout this, I think, complement each other really well. And of course, these 2 beautiful looking birds, which you can put your minifigures on to actually fly around onto. The build also comes apart to reveal a very small interior, but what can you really expect for something that's just over 1,000 pieces? It's still nicely detailed and has some fun hidden throughout it too, such as that treasure chest, and whilst the inside is small, it's certainly not shy on detailing. You know, we just had the Mushroom House for Series 2, which I have managed to pre-order, although it's now sold out. And this is the sort of build which I think kind of lends itself to that fantastical world. I mean, sure, I kind of struggle to see what else it would fit in with, certainly that I have in my collection, but I would find somewhere for it. I think it's a strong standalone piece that's been cleverly designed and just looks really pretty. And sometimes that's all it needs to do. My next choice, though, is quite different. Brick Hood Modular Basketball Court. Something I would have never have thought about for a city build, and yet now I see it, I really do want it. It would just slot in so brilliantly. And it's a really fun concept, again, with nice little details spattered throughout. And, you know, it's refreshing, it's new. Whilst I can't deny it, LEGO has done some really good city sets, especially lately. I think they've had really quite strong entries in the last couple of waves. They are all a little bit samey in a way. There's nothing building on the world that we've already got from sets in the past. So things like this that are just that bit different and yet would slot in so nicely, I do really applaud. 733 pieces. Again, small, but every single piece counts here. Really well thought out, no wastage. Not the usual sort of set that I would go for, but I do really like it. So for what it counts, big thumbs up from me. Then I've picked the Music Studio, another one that just immediately popped out to me for a bit of out-of-the-box thinking, interesting shape, great colour, it just immediately pops. I mean, come on. A building shaped like a grand piano, it's gotta be done. You put this in your city and it's just gonna immediately stand out. The colours are cool, the shaping's brilliant, it's just so quirky. I mean, sure, we had the proper piano that LEGO has done, but having one as an actual music studio building, I mean, come on. It's a really cool concept. 1,127 pieces should come in at a decent price if it was chosen, and I think offers quite a lot of set for your money. Okay, there's definitely bang for buck here. Do you agree with me? If this was chosen, would it be music to your ears? Or would you be shoving your fingers in them and running the other direction? Let me know in the comments down below. My next choice really is much smaller, the Ramen Shop. This one coming in at just 522 pieces. And yet, despite its small size, it really manages to capture something here. This would just slot in anywhere, whatever city street you want to put it on. It does kind of make me hungry just starting to look at it. Fancy going and picking up some good quality street food. But yeah, it just stood out to me. I don't really know what more you could ask for such a small little set that's been really well thought out. Again, has just some really nice detail to it. I think it's a real triumph when you consider the low number of pieces. The same could be said for this, the Pirate's Dream, one that I have covered already in my pirate video. But I still have to include it here, 987 pieces, and a cool diorama, minifig scale down at the bottom with our pirate sleeping and lots of fun shenanigans going on, and of course the microscale dream going on up above, of our pirate ship having just sunk the Imperial soldier's vessel. It's very different, as I said in my Pirates theme video based on this, not the sort of thing that I would normally go for, but this really does appeal to me. I think it's been really well thought out, packed full of fun features, and just such a cool little display diorama. One that I would definitely try to buy come crowdfunding if it does get chosen as a finalist. Moving on to my final 3. Yes, I know I said 10 originally, but there's a couple of bonus ones in here for you as well. And I've chosen this, the Fishing Boat. Coming in at 845 pieces. I kind of did a double take when I saw that, because whilst this is small, there just seems to be so much going on in it that I thought it had to be at least a few more pieces than that. Now, it is true LEGO have recently chosen the Steamboat from LEGO Ideas, and of course we're getting another boat with the Jaws set coming out next month. So maybe that would go against this in a way, a sudden flurry of boats, but I just think this has been really well designed. Such a nice concept, really good looking model. I think it's very impressive on ones of this size where you can just take the time to look at it and keep finding new little features that our fan designer has actually put in here for us. So this one gets me hook, line and sinker. For my penultimate choice, I've gone with this, the medieval Mongolian camp. It was this yurt that captured my attention, particularly the beautiful colouring on the door. And then the more that I look at this, it's a brilliant example of something that's been very simply done. It's not overdone. It's so tempting to try and chuck more into this, but with restraint, I think. The designer has made something here that just looks fantastic. You know, we get a lot of medieval stuff proposed, but gotta say a Mongolian line would just be brilliant. I'd love to get quite a few of these yurts, build up a full camp, that would just be so cool. The colours in particular just really pop on this. And of course it's not shy on minifigures and animals as well, even the goat in there too. What a splendid submission, 1018 pieces. You know, it's a real shame that there can only be 5 finalists, and that those finalists are of course going to be spread out across different sizes, because there's so many good submissions, but I do really kind of want to get this. It's another one that would just be a no-brainer for crowdfunding. I would be there trying to buy this. So again, for what it's worth, tip my hat to the designer. Thank you very much. Such a cool concept. And then my number one choice is this, the popcorn wagon. Now, our fan designer may have gone with popcorn here. It could be virtually anything, really. It just reminds me of the Christmas fairs that come to town, specifically sort of the German ones that we get over here. Very evocative of that to me, but just the styling, the shaping, the colouring. It's a super design. Piece count-wise, very small, 577 pieces. What a masterclass of how to use them. It's got some fun play features as well. Twisting this will make the popcorn go up and down as though it is popping. You can also slide the window back and forth and take the roof off for a look inside. This is another one that would just fit into so many setups really well, whether it's going to be in a city or by the beach along, you know, I'm thinking the likes of the snack shack we had for series 1 of this Bricklink designer program. This would fit in with that super well. And yeah, just making me think of the Christmas markets. I'd kind of be tempted to maybe change this around, put a little bit of snow on it and use it for that. And of course, that's just the main build. Let's not forget the street lamp, the colourful flowers, and even the beautiful little butterfly that's down here as well. And the bird that's pecking around on the other side. This one really captures my attention. I think it's been so well done and would be very deserving as a finalist. So those are my choices. Let me know yours in the comments below. Don't forget to vote by June 14th and stick around because you can check out one of these 2 videos next. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.